You gonna do the bell? You, bell? Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to First Parish in Waltham. We are so glad you're here. Whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. My name is Dan Diano, and I serve on the Board of Managers as Assistant Treasurer. My pronouns are he, his, and I'm a 70-something, gray-bearded, bald-headed man wearing a black and green plaid shirt. Here are this morning's announcements. We try to make our service as accessible as possible, and we have listening headsets and large print versions of our service materials. They're available from the ushers. Our weekly newsletter is mailed on Wednesdays. Paper copies can be found at the entrances to the building. If you are visiting today or new among us, please ask an usher how you can stay in touch. This week promises to be a busy one. A variety of fantastic items will be available at the Holiday Marketplace in Whitcomb Hall during coffee hour today. On Monday, between 4 and 6 p.m., you can meet with Reverend Elka and our President, Deb Jose, in the Harrington Room to talk about whatever's on your mind. Tuesday is the last opportunity to shop for items at the Clothing Exchange this season. Book group meets on Thursday at 1 p.m. The Buddhist meditation group meets in the chapel at 7 p.m. on Thursday. And the choir also meets at 7 p.m. on Thursday on the other side of the building. And then on Friday at 7 p.m. in Whitcomb Hall is our annual solstice service. And it keeps going. Next Sunday is our pageant. So you should look at the newsletter to get all that straight and clear. It was great to see a number of people attending the Adult Faith Formation First Steps Unitarian Universalism in a Nutshell, long title, training that April did last Sunday. There'll be more adult programming taking place in the new year. So keep your eyes open for details. And many thanks to Elise Gittleman, Sue Genser, Donna Vanderklok, and Leslie Gildersleeve for their help in last night's concert. There were 120 people attending for a warm and wonderful evening of music and song. So thank you to everybody who helped make that happen. And finally, the altar flowers for today's service were given by Elise Gittleman in memory of her friend Amanda Sue Herman Carter, who would have turned 42 this week. This is the end of today's announcements. We're glad you're here, and looks like the camera's already pulled back so that you can turn around and wave to the folks who are joining us on Zoom.
You are welcome here. Whether you are sitting in a pew, joining us online, or listening from a different room in the church, you are welcome here. Whether this is your first visit, your first month, your first year, or your 50th year with us, you are welcome here. If you sing in the choir, are assisting in the service in a different way, or are supporting us with your presence, you are welcome here. You are welcome even if your mind is wandering or your body needs to get up and move. Whether wanting to be silent or make loud noises, or singing hymns lustily and out of tune. You are welcome here. We are glad you are here with us.
Thank you. Good morning. You didn't put in the order of service. Who wrote that? Who wrote that, Emma? Emma wrote that. It's pretty special. Good morning. I'm Elka Carrier-Ladd. I'm the minister here at First Parish in Waltham. I just turned 42. I have short, curly-ish hair. It's curlier when it's longer. I'm white, queer, non-binary. My pronouns are they and them, and I'm really excited to lead worship this morning with a great team of folks. Our chalice lighting today is by Lisa Doge. Why a flaming chalice? The question comes. It's the cup of life, we answer, a cup of blessings overflowing, a cup of water to quench our spirit's thirsts, a cup of wine for celebration and dedication, the flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus was the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us. In these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, and a light to warm our souls and guide us home. Will you rise in body or in spirit and join us for our opening hymn? It's number 1015 in your teal hymnal, I Know I Can. Please stay standing for our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. You can sit. In the Christian liturgical calendar, today marks the third Sunday in the season of Advent, the season of waiting expectantly for the upending of the power structures of the world, a season of longing for and envisioning deep healing and profound change, a time marked by waiting for an inbreaking, whatever inbreakings we might be able to find, of radical transformation in the world and in our lives. We acknowledge that we have been hoping and waiting for such a transformation for a long time. And we know that we have been working towards the radical transformation of this world into a world envisioned by prophets throughout our history, again and again. In this time of waiting, this year, this time of waiting, expectation, and yearning, may we dream into being a world where the power structures of oppression are toppled, where the lowly are lifted up, where everyone knows they are loved and holy. This week, in addition to candles for hope and peace, we light a candle for joy, for the way gladness bubbles up in us, bursting forth, for the warmth of a smile, for belly laughs, for delight, bliss, and wonder, for pleasure, elation, rejoicing, radiance, glee, exhilaration. Today, we light a candle of joy in the spirit of expectation for a world completely and radically transformed.
Good morning, friends. Good morning. In just a second, I'm going to introduce myself. But before I do that, I want to give my helpers time to come forward because my story today requires so much more than just myself. So if you are helping with today's Time for All Ages, you are welcome to come on up and find your partner and stand next to them. Your partner is John Allen. I'm with you. Yeah. Come on up with your coat. Right over there. So my name is April Rosario. My pronouns are she, her. That's for you. And I am the Director of Faith Formation here at First Parish Waltham. I just turned 38. I am a Black woman with medium-length dreadlocks. And I have a very special story for you today. Now, most Sundays, I match our story with what is happening in the sanctuary, because our kids and our youth are doing the same thing, just in an age-appropriate, hands-on, play-based way downstairs. But once a month, we do something different. The kids do not, and youth do not match what we're doing upstairs. Once a month, we do a Faith in Action project. Because as Unitarian Universalists, we believe that it is our actions and the way we live our life that we live out our faith. Today's Faith in Action project is the Giving Tree. And I have a story to tell you. Once upon a time, because of course, that's how all my favorite stories start. Once upon a time, there was a child. Many, much like the children here. This child and their family belonged to a church, much like this church here. And in that church was a Christmas tree, much like the Christmas tree you will find in the parlor. On that Christmas tree were all types of ornaments and tags. The child got very excited and took a whole bunch of tags off the Christmas tree, handed them to their grown-up and said, "I'm ready." The grown-up said, "What are you ready for?" The child said, "I'm ready to put my faith in action." The child said, "We learned today that all these tags are gifts for people in need. Let's go get them." The child's grown-up said, "Okay, that sounds great." So off to the store they went. The child, like myself, and I'm sure many other people, walked into the store and immediately felt overwhelmed. There's so many things. What should I get? The adult said, "Oh, I bet I can help you." "Let's look at our list," the adult said. The first tag you picked was socks, my friends. "Let me tell you a story about socks," the adult said. The adult put on a fashion show right there in the store. The adult said, "These are both amazing pairs of socks. But one of these are small. They might come in a big package, but look, they would only come to my ankles. And I bet if they got wet, they would stay wet for a long, long time. These socks," the adult said, "are much, much taller and made of much better material. I think they are water-wicking socks. They will dry fast and keep our friends' feet, ankles, and calves nice and warm." The child immediately went, "White socks, gray socks, let's put the gray socks into the basket." And they moved on to the next aisle. The grown-up looked at the list again and said, hats. Hats are what are next on the list. And held up 2 hats. One hat, although very sporty and red, with a letter B on it that the child noticed. One hat the child noticed was red with a letter B on it, and they held it up and they said, "What about this hat?" The grown-up said, "That is a fine hat indeed, and such a beautiful red color. But, it doesn't even come all the way over our ears. Our earlobes would be so cold. And look what it's made out of. If it snows or it rains, I don't know that this hat would be very helpful. Let's look at another hat." The child picked up another hat and put it on and said, "This hat is very different. This hat is made of material that is waterproof. This hat has a fur lining. This hat has flaps for my ears, and it can buckle under my chin in case the wind blows. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It will not blow off." The grown-up said, "Red hat, black and purple hat." The child said, "Black and purple," into the cart that it went. And they moved on to the next aisle. In the next aisle, they found gloves. The child picked up both gloves and they said, "Well, these are both black. They must be the same." The grown-up said, "Let's look at these gloves some more." One pair, whom my friend Pam in the blue sweater is modeling, one pair is very thin. They are beautiful, indeed. But these are the types of gloves you might wear going from the house to the car, from the car into school, maybe from school back to the bus or the car. These gloves are meant to keep your fingers warm for just moments. Let's look at these other gloves, the grown-up said. Also black, but look at these. These gloves are strong. These gloves are made of waterproof material. These gloves are lined on the inside and are meant to keep your hands warm for a long, long time. Warm and dry. Which should we choose? The child said, I do like fancy, but let's pick the strong gloves. And they put them into the basket. On to the next aisle they went. Sweatshirts, the grown-up said. And 2 sweatshirts were chosen. Both were very, very nice. But there were some differences. What do you notice about these 2 sweatshirts? The grown-up said. Well, the child said, the orange one just has sleeves. It's almost like a shirt. Said the grown-up. And what do you notice about the other? Well, the blue sweatshirt, said the child, has a hood. It will keep someone's neck warm, it will keep their hair dry, and it has pockets, said the child. The orange sweatshirt does not have pockets. There's somewhere to put your things. Oh, said the grown-up. So which sweatshirt should we pick? Let's pick the blue one, said the child. And into the basket it went. And on to the next aisle. The grown-up said, long underwear.
He's wearing one.
What could that mean? The child pulled 2 things. One came in a set. One was indeed long. Long sleeves, long pants. It looked warm and cozy, and it was tight-fitting to the body, so clearly other things could be layered on top. They picked up something else and went, well, this one came from the same section. No sleeves, not long, not warm at all. The grown-up said, what should we put into the cart? Definitely the long underwear, said the child. And in went the top and bottom into the cart. And they moved on to the final aisle. The grown-up said, jackets. And the child picked 2. The first was white, the second was red. The white jacket was beautiful, and so was the red. What do you notice about these 2 jackets, said the grown-up. Well, the white jacket is beautiful, but it looks like fleece. It has a pocket, but it doesn't even come past my belly button. It has no hood. I don't know. What do you notice about the red jacket? The grown-up said. Well, the child said, the red jacket is made from things that will keep the water off. It has a zipper. I could attach a hood or take it off. I can zip it up to keep me warm. And it goes past my belly button, which means if I need to sit down, my bum will be dry. Which jacket should we put in the cart, the grown-up said. The white jacket or the red? The red, the child said. Into the cart it went, and off to the register they went. Now, friends, that is where my story and my fashion show ends. Can we give my lovely fashion show helpers a hand? Just right in the back. At the end of every story, I give you all a challenge. Here is your challenge if you choose to take it. At the end of service today, as you go through the parlor, you will notice that we also have a giving tree, just like the one from the story. You will notice that it will be populated with tags that our kids and our youth are going to make for their Faith in Action project today. If you are willing and able, I invite you to take a tag, 2, however many you feel moved to take, and purchase something for our friends and our neighbors that are experiencing homelessness this holiday season. You can bring that something back, wrapped, and put it in the box that is under the tree. And I invite you all to take with you the lessons of today's fashion show as you make your choices in the store aisles and pick your items. Now, I invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as they are willing and able, and join us in our next song, number 18. I don't know what the title of 18. On our project. Hi.
The handout. Did you have a handout?
It's on the music stand, right?
Oh, it's on the music stand. Hooray. We've come to the time in our service now where we have an opportunity to share our joys, our sorrows, our milestones with one another, so that we might feel held through all that we are navigating privately on our own in our lives. If you have a joy or a sorrow or something hard to describe or sum up with one word to share here in the sanctuary, you can make a line here. Please hold the microphone to your face and remind us your name. And we know that there are always joys, sorrows, and complicated mixtures of emotion too tender to be shared publicly. So we'll light a final candle in honor of all that we hold still in our hearts. Would you stay in this prayerful, reflective, meditative space with me a little longer? Do whatever is right for you in your body to prepare for something important, to send something out into the universe, whatever it is that is yours that you need to send. Maybe you take a few breaths. Maybe you focus on settling into your body. Maybe you close your eyes or lower your gaze. Great mystery. It is so good to be together. To laugh and play and get to ham it up in front of our community. It is so good to find laughter wherever it appears, to find joy wherever it appears, to find a sense of home wherever we might find it. We are grateful for this time and these people. We're grateful for the way this community has carried us to this moment and will hold us still through all that is before us. And we know that there are many in this room who carry great, unbearable grief into this season, who carry uncertainty and fear everywhere they go, who are lost or feel alone, desperately seeking a place, any place, for warmth and respite. Tiny sanctuaries that we have to carve out for ourselves sometimes in inhospitable places. May the power of our love offer healing to all those who need love. That doesn't work. We all need love. To all those who we encounter, every single person. May they know how deeply we love them and all humans. May they see in our faces and in our actions, in our generosity, well beyond physical gifts. May all beings know that they are sacred, that they are worthy of love and belonging and home. Whatever you have brought to this place, whatever we have created here, may it fill each of us with love that might overflow into a world that desperately needs to be loved. May all that is sacred hear these spoken prayers and those lifted up now in a time of quiet. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Out of whatever gratitude we can muster, we give forth generosity. to this place and to so many other places that have been a home to us or to others that we love. This is the time in our service where we get to practice generosity, where we put that in action, where we hold that close and share the gifts we've received for the good of all. Our offering will now be gratefully given and received.
Hi. My name is Elizabeth Savage, and my friends and family call me Lulu, which is how you all know me. I am a white woman wearing a red and white striped shirt, and I use the pronouns she, hers. A Messy Nativity by John Pavlovitz. I still remember witnessing my wife giving birth to our first child, Noah. The wait of the previous 9 months had seemed agonizingly slow, but during those final moments in the hospital, everything accelerated to a velocity approaching light speed. After warnings that his arrival was imminent, I'd been quickly ushered into a closet-sized space adjacent to a delivery room and instructed to don a white outfit that seemed part hazmat suit, part late Elvis stage jumpsuit sans the bedazzling. Just as I was finished fastening myself in, I was led to my wife's side, where I essentially became a passionate, well-meaning, though incidental, spectator. Up until that point, I thought I'd prepared myself. I'd attended all the classes along with her, had countless lengthy conversations about what to expect, and read all the requisite books to feel properly equipped for what I was about to witness. I had no idea. The sounds and scents and sights were the kind of disorienting sensory overload that transcends words. I stay upright, but barely. We tend to sanitize the birth story of Jesus, fashioning it into a pristine, shimmering nativity scene adorned with gold accents and residing comfortably on a hallway table or atop a fireplace mantle. It all becomes so benign and serene that we forget the visceral reality of the moment, that it was as loud and chaotic and messy as childbirth is. Jesus was pushed through Mary's birth canal and into a strange world. To miss this fact is to cheapen the events by trying to soften it into something neat and orderly, when in truth, as with all births, there was surely mess and chaos in the moment. We do this with our spiritual journeys too, wanting them to be comfortable and clean, desiring something attractive that we can easily accessorize our lives with. But that isn't the reality, is it? Life comes with the collateral damage of living, with failed plans and relational collapse, with internal struggle and existential crisis, and we carry these things with us into this season. The good news is we don't need to discard our messiness to step into this season, and we couldn't, even if we wanted to. Bring every bit of your flawed self and all your chaotic circumstances to this day. Welcome the mess.
There will be an image in just a minute, which was how we will start. There it is, it's coming. Yeah, there it is. See, worth it. I can't describe this without you seeing it, right? These are my friends Nick and Alex. Here you see them at a nature preschool end of year party. My older two children were enrolled in the same program with Alex's sister Riley, so I was able to witness this event with my own eyes. It had rained the day before, and there was a lot of mud. We were out where the kids play at the nature preschool. I mean, a lot of mud. And Alex was one. So if you've ever met a one-year-old, you might know that they do what they want. And Alex wanted to play in the mud, and really play in the mud. He was covered, literally from head to toe, in a fairly large amount of mud, dripping with mud, not just on his face, all over his body, and before long, as one-year-olds are wont to do, he wanted to be held by his parent. He toddled over to them and put his chubby arms up like they do, and they didn't hesitate to pick him up right away because they're a really, really good parent who understands the wonder and the beauty of a messy kid. Now, many of the parents at these events are like that too, or at this event was like that too, but I saw one or two eyes that were pretty surprised at a parent picking up an extremely muddy 1-year-old and holding them close. Those are the moments where we show how we truly are as parents, though, aren't they? The moments when we see the beauty in the child's mud-covered little self and are willing to get covered in mud ourselves in order to be there for them. To love the child in their muddiness, not despite it. And shouldn't we love all of the people in our lives this way? Shouldn't we love one another because of the ways we are messy and imperfect and broken and struggling? The people that I love the most are the ones who are the most real about who they truly are, with the ways in which they're in the midst of a rumble with their shadow sides, the ways in which they sometimes end up pinned down, face in the dirt, unsure how they'll ever get up. It's the people who are honest about their humanity who I'm interested in spending my time with. I don't really have much time for the folks who pretend that they have it all together, really. I don't really have much interest in being fake or pretending or posturing. There's enough of that out there, right? Because the most awe-inspiring thing in the world, to my mind, is the resilience of the human spirit. The thing that keeps me getting up each day is the opportunity to journey with the beautiful souls in my life as they wrestle with the biggest of feelings, as they vulnerably open up and risk heartbreak once more, as they courageously risk defeat again, as they do the next right thing, especially when it is so, so hard. That is where I have the most poignant wonder and joy. It's easy, they say, to find wonder and joy when it's quiet, or when it's clean and uncomplicated, when the sun is setting over a picturesque landscape and no one is wailing. But it's a lot harder to find the magic of the world in the midst of the chaos and noise and sorrow that surround us most of the time, right? It's a lot harder, but also a million times more satisfying. I experience a lot of magic moments with my loud, messy children, whether they're literally covered in mud at that moment or not. But sometimes it's hard to notice it, to take the time to really admire it, revel in it, for it to be the amazing moment that it could be if I'm present to it. If I'm too busy or too stressed or too overwhelmed or too anything, I miss it too easily. Maybe I feel it, but the wave of joy and gratitude and wonder that accompanies it is less than it could have been. There's something even more astounding than the words and feelings themselves when I'm able to hear and truly express the reverence for the times a tiny little Elias said, "I of you, Mommy," because he couldn't say his L's for a long time. "I of you, Mommy." Or Phoebe dances to the music in her head when there's nothing outside, because she does that a lot. Or Mirabelle asks me a deep and thoughtful question, or Theo shows me his latest finished comic book that he's made in about 45 minutes and that has a very fully fleshed out plot. It's even more powerful and gut-wrenching when I'm able to truly let those beautiful moments wash over me when two others of them are screaming at each other, right? Because as I've told you before, my house is very loud, and sometimes the humans and the dogs make a lot of noise, and finding the most profound and meaningful moments of love in the midst of that is more satisfying to me than finding it in the quiet. Maybe I just like a challenge, but it's not that it's devoid of any beauty when it happens in the quiet, but there's something more precious to me about finding joy in messiness, in noise, in chaos. Or when I feel deeply sad, or when I cannot stop thinking about the 20-page to-do list, or the giant pile of laundry, or the ways in which the world is on fire all around us. And it's not just about finding the wonder despite the mess and the chaos of our lives or our broken hearts. I'm also asking us today to see when we can find the beauty and the amazement in the messiness itself. Where is the joy for you that is in the mud, or that is the mud in the chaos, or is the chaos itself in the loud cacophony in our lives? When can we see Alex's mud-covered face and not enjoy it because he's cute and happens to have mud on him, but enjoy it because he's being his whole beautiful, unmasked, unadulterated self, and unaltered by all the messages he will receive in his life to be a certain way, to not be too much, to fit into the molds society deems appropriate or suffer the consequences. When I can see the extreme loud nature of my own home as the gift of so many blessings given to me, whether I thought I wanted all of them or not, and the most incredible humans I could ever have imagined creating and getting to call family. Actually, well beyond my imaginings, right? It's okay that sometimes the noise feels overwhelming, and the noise is the most precious gift I've ever received in my entire life at the same time. Author and shame researcher Brene Brown often tells a story of her eldest child, Ellen, when she was about 6. She was making some art at school. She was really into it, and there were supplies all over, and her teacher came over to her and said, "Ellen, you're a mess." Without skipping a beat, the child of a shame researcher replied, "I am not a mess. I am making a mess." This distinction is very key, right? We all make lots of messes. All of us, all of the time. We get covered in mud or glitter or disappointment or rage. It does not make us a mess, friends. It makes us human. If the author of our reading, contemporary liberal Christian author and theologian John Pavlovich, thought that his child's hospital birth was messy, do I have 4 stories to tell him? But it doesn't matter. All births are messy, no matter where they happen. And it's important to remember this time of year that the mythic birth of the person we call Jesus now is said to have happened in a barn. Hospital births start with a sterile environment, at least. Home births start with our homes, so maybe they're clean, but most likely there's a few dust bunnies in at least some of the corners, right? Barn births start with actual animal feed and feces and a lot more hair than I think my dogs shed. To say that this birth was messy may be a bit of an understatement. I'm not a huge fan of Christmas music. This is a thing for a minister to say out loud to their church. I mean, my feelings for it waxes and wanes, and there are times when it brings me a lot of joy, but until I began living with the family that I'm now in the midst of reshaping, I never listened to it in my own home. It felt like the whole world around me was assaulting me with Christmas music, so why would I choose to continue this in my own tranquil space? I felt like my home was the one escape from the expectation that I be happy, that I be cheery, that I put on the joyful face whether I was feeling it or not this time of year. Now, after I began adding children to our home, some of this shifted, but I find myself not feeling it sometimes, some years more than others, or at least feeling differently about it. This year, I'm carrying extra grief with me into this season, but grief that is also joy at the same time. This year, my heart is heavier than I would like because of all that's happening in the world and because of what is happening in my life, but that grief is also liberation, right? And yet, what I'm finding is that just makes the fleeting and perhaps more elusive moments when I get swept away by any joy I can find, by the splendor of the twinkly lights and the warmth of generosity, I find that all the more incredible and heart-opening, right? And, of course, I have to work hard to remind myself that it's okay not to feel cheery all the time right now. I'm still allowed to feel sad when I feel sad, and so are you. You are allowed to feel whatever you need to feel, confused, angry, lost, afraid. And we are all allowed to be scared out of our minds at the state of the world sometimes. We are all allowed to be terrified and overwhelmed by climate change. We are all allowed to feel powerless in the face of police brutality and gun violence. We're all allowed to feel defeated by the hatred and the greed and the bigotry that pervade our society. Unitarian Universalist minister Erica Hewitt talks about how she manages her range of big feelings this time of year in a reflection she wrote in 2016 called When Mary Meets Mess. She writes, 4 Christmases ago, a painful breakup sent me spinning into a long tango with depression. 2 Christmases ago, I came down with the stomach flu. Last year, as tears streamed down my face, friends cut off my long hair in preparation for my first round of chemotherapy. And this year, like many, I'm grieving an election that I believe has already damaged the hearts and bodies of our country's most fragile people. I haven't soured on the holidays, however, and I will not give up on Christmas for 2 reasons. First, long before my heart was broken and I lost my hair to chemo, I learned to shape the holidays to fit into whatever shaped hole was in my heart. At times, that has required ingenuity and vigilance. The holidays, laden as they are with traditions and sacred cows, can pull us into programmed ruts rather than genuine wonder. To ask, what do I truly need and how can I claim my longing for joy, can happen only when we allow ourselves to practice vulnerability and take mindful pauses. The other reason I won't give up on Christmas is its central message. The holy will never give up on us, her people. In fact, from Hanukkah to solstice, that's the message of most winter holy days. The holy, call it God, call it the force, call it love's impulse, will never give up on us, even when we feel like curling up in a dark room and revoking our membership in the human family. If I believe that your love will never let us go, I imagine saying to the great all that is, the least I can do is be your spy on the ground. I'll keep watch for love, for compassion, for magic, for awe. I'll report back regularly just to feel close to you. Every one of you, sugar plums, has a story about the holiday blues, crisis, loneliness, wanting to give up. Telling our stories helps restore our wholeness, so tell yours. While you're at it, form a plan for the coming weeks so that on the other side of this winter, you can look back and say, here's how I made it gentler on myself, and here's where I remembered that love will show itself again and again. Whatever it is you feel today, tomorrow, and the rest of this month, you are loved. You are whole, you are worthy, your feelings are valid. And those moments of absolute joy of being held in the embrace of love that will never let you go, of hearing that you are so loved so clearly that all of the noise and the mess and the flames fall away so that you can truly feel the power of your love and the love that surrounds you, the power of the wonder and awe that is yours, so fully that it wraps you up and lifts you up off your feet. Let the sweetness wash over you and carry you through until the next wondrous and messy moment. Pick someone else up when they are so covered in mud that you'll get really dirty too. Listen closely to the little voices reminding that you are worthy amidst the screaming. Welcome and feel all of the pain and sorrow and grief that rises up in the midst of this season, as much as you welcome everything else as part of the wonder that is waiting for the messy, loud birth of a child who will so love the world that he was deemed too dangerous to live in it. Be fully present to all that is real for you right now, so that you can help to create the world that child fought for, the world where everyone has what they need, where everyone knows their worth, where all life is celebrated as sacred, where no one is cast out for being broken or messy or human. Share the ways in which you are struggling or messy or human right now, no matter what messages you are getting to pretend to be perfect and cheerful, because being perfectly yourself is more valuable. Be the light in the dark world and the dark in the midst of excessive and sometimes obnoxious twinkling lights. Be you just as you are, your beautiful, glorious, messy, messed up self. Let's find joy and love together in the mud. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn this morning is number 226 in the gray hymnal, People Look East. A world that may feel cold, that may feel blistery and stormy, or that may feel bright and cheery for you. May you remember that you are loved and that love will never let you go. May you have the best winter coat and socks, moisture wicking, so that you can stay as dry as possible in the midst of the mud. But may you also get muddy when it is time for you to pick up the mud along with the joy, because sometimes you can't separate them, right? You are a blessing. You are a blessing. Go now and bless this beautiful and broken world.
Friends, I love you. And for this reason, I am not going to make you sit through me attempting an interpretation of Vivaldi's Winter from the Four Seasons on my violin. May you have peace. I have therefore made the unusual decision to share a YouTube video with you for today's postlude. The version chosen, for the other nerds in the room, is performed on period instruments. Note the unusual bows and the unusual bow hold. Neither is it the version that you would normally associate with the larger work that it's taken from. To provide some context, the night Vivaldi was born, there was a bright streak in the sky, which has since been proven to be Halley's Comet. However, something similar once appeared around this time of the year that seemed to have heralded a new era. One reason why I picked it. His mum saw this divine light in the sky and saw it as a sign. He was going to be a priest. As a youth in the church, Vivaldi's red hair, another divine sign, was given the nickname the Red Priest. Fortunately for us music lovers, Vivaldi had other plans. Instead of entering the priesthood, he became a musician. Music from Vivaldi's era is generally divided into one of two categories, either sacred and used for worship, or, say, secular, everything else. I don't feel comfortable with that distinction. It may not have been used in a liturgical service, and it certainly doesn't have any religious lyrics in it, but this piece does seem, for me, to worship the change in the seasons, and a cycle that feels incredibly spiritual. As you listen to this piece, you may hear teeth chattering, wind rushing through bare branches, icicles forming, snowflakes whirling. Winter can be such a beautiful, beautiful season when admired through a lens or a window. If I was a client of the services offered by chaplains on the way, I think I might have a very different range of emotions when my ears and my fingers tingle with Jack Frost and friends. This original version of Winter is nearly 10 minutes long. If that's too long for you, and you want to creep out and take a label from the giving tree in the parlour, or you want to refresh your sleepy parts with coffee in Whitcomb Hall, nobody's going to be offended if you slip out gently. Equally, if, like me, this piece awakens your passion for interpretive dance, and you want to be a snowflake in an aisle, others can respectfully close their eyes if your movements are causing them a problem. This is Winter from the Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Music, maestro. Thank you.